Today we're going to be talking about this beautiful tree that is called Crepe Myrtle. We're going to be looking at pruning, planting, feeding, watering, pests, and diseases. If you've never been here before, my name is Marlene. Welcome to my home and garden channel. So the Crepe Myrtle is an absolutely wonderful mid-sized tree, small to mid-sized tree, I would say. It blooms a lot in the summertime. That's when you'll see a lot of the beautiful flowers coming out. They can handle tropical climates. They can handle mild winters. If the weather falls below 10 degrees Fahrenheit, then they don't like that. They are deciduous trees, which means that they lose their leaves during the winter and they come back out in the springtime. You can see how beautiful these blossoms are right here, and they just bloom more and more as the summer wears along. Some of them can get as far as up to over 50 feet, but the standard size usually is about, say, 15 to 20 feet, and you can control it. We'll talk about that as a bonus point towards the end. But look at this one right here. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? I just love it. It's like it has a two-tone. You can see it on there like a little darker pink, little whiter flowers as they age. They didn't do anything to this one, no pruning, and it is absolutely beautiful. I just love it. They do need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight, so I'd say 6 or more. So they like sunny areas. They attract butterflies, so they're very, very good, for your garden to bring that little bit of wildlife in. Another beautiful feature about them is the trunk. The trunks are always beautiful with those kind of like blotchy patterns that we like so much, and also helps us to recognize them. When the leaves are falling off, you can tell that that's what it is. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at how to plant them. Now, the easiest option would seem to be growing them from seeds, which you can. It's inexpensive, and you can just get the seeds typically, once they're available. However, these seeds, they take up to 30 days to germinate, and that means that the soil has to be sterile, because if it's not, you can have, mold, fungus growing in and making it a mess. And typically you'd get these perhaps from a neighbor, or wherever you see these, like they're falling down like this, you can get them and you can try planting them. So that is an option there. Not the first choice for me personally, but and if you're not using them after pruning them, you can always put them, like, say, in your compost pile, or you can even use them as we did in the past to form layers, in our raised bed. So there are different things you can do. The decorations, they tend to fall off, the berries, so that's not the perfect choice for them. Over here is what I like, and that is getting them from suckers that come up, like younger plants that grow up a few feet away from the actual parent plant. This one was such a surprise to us because it was blooming and it was maybe like about 4 feet tall. Can you believe that? Oops, I actually meant 4 inches. We couldn't have kept it there though because of the size. It's going to grow larger, and that's not going to be good for the house. This one right here, this one is actually a volunteer one that grew up behind our yard, and it shed the leaves because it's, the colder time of the year right now, but it's going to come right up, and we're going to leave it right there. It's in a wonderful place. So over here now, I'm just showing you basically with the soil. If you buy them, the container, you buy the small tree, you want to make sure that when you put it in the soil, that the soil where the pot stops, that it doesn't go up to the edge right there. It needs to level out with the soil. And as far as the width goes, you need for it to be the same distance on either side. So it has, because they tend to have, like more horizontal type roots, a lot of those. So you want them to have space to spread out. And the same is true for planting most trees. You need to give them room. So the root ball needs to, have enough space to spread out. And I would highly recommend this. It's a beautiful lavender color one right here. I just love this one. It's in my neighborhood. What I would say is, if you're going to plant them, they are a mid-sized tree, I would say. So you want to allow them maybe, I'd say, at least 8 feet, no closer than that to your house, because they do need space to spread out and to be their best. And if they're left out, like these right here, just, like as, for privacy, fencing and all of that, they can grow so high and be so beautiful. And once they get to heights like these, older ages, more than 3 years old, because typically that's when they bloom at 3 years old, you don't even have to feed them, on any kind of regular basis. But when they are coming up younger, you'll want to try feeds like these, and I'll link them in the description box below. You can always get those online on Amazon or any other type you prefer. And if you do love gardening and flowers or the fruits, veggies, be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell twice so you never miss an upload. Next, we're going to take a look at how to prune them. And this one right here, this one is butchered. It's been cut down a little bit too much. A plant will still survive, but sometimes they tend to be kind of knobby looking like this one here. and that's really not the best thing for the plant. But like I said, it will still go on, but not the preferred situation. And over here, my husband is using this little power saw right here. And I'll link this in the description box for you as well if you'd be interested in that. It comes with like extra the saw that blade that you could put in there, and there's a little pack right there with some extra ones in there as well too. So that's an option that you can use right there. And I always say to practice safety whenever you are in the garden. Make sure you wear your gloves if you need to. Make sure you have on your safety glasses, protective shoes to cover your feet, whenever you're doing any type of power tool use. You especially want to make sure that you are properly protected. Here's another one again. We love the Sacred Mini Chainsaw. It is absolutely wonderful. This is another one as well for you. So I'll link these various products below. You can take a look at them if you like to see if it will work for you. The next thing is to get a nice stepping ladder like this one here, because they're typically higher up. When you're going to cut them, you want to make sure that you're safe. And I would say try to get a spotter if you can. Right here, I'm just showing you what they look like just before we cut them down, and you can see how tall they are and all, the dried seed pods that are on there. And we're just going to go in and take those out and show you how we did it. So it's really, really beautiful. It has that interest at this time of the year, which is, depending on when you're watching this, is in late winter that we're going to be doing that. So like I was saying, make sure you have a spotter if you're doing this. I typically am there with my husband watching, to make sure everything is okay and safe, whenever you're doing that kind of work in your garden. Now, if you like, you can go in if your tree is not that tall, or even just for the branches that may be like crisscrossing each other and they're narrow enough, you can always use like your regular little pruners and you can clip those off, and that'll work perfectly for you. And you can do it that way as he's doing here. Or if you like, you can go in and, get the tools that I mentioned before, and you can use those. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And if you are liking this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up so that it can be sent out to more people. So here he is now. He's going in and just cutting them off with a power saw. And again, caution is the key. It's not a rainy day at all. We were just doing it a little later in the evening, so the sun was kind of about to set. So that's why it looks a little dim outside there. But it was a nice warm day, so we went ahead and do it. So typically you want to make sure that you're doing this in the late winter. Do not wait until your plant has started to sprout. They need to be in dormancy. And this is what it looked like when we were finished. You can see how they're looking right there. And then a few weeks after, this is what they were looking like, coming up so nice. And this is a wonderful time. You can hear the birds singing in the background. It's springtime and they're coming up. And all of those are going to be producing wonderful flowers for us. And you can actually deadhead your flowers too, like take them off once they're spent, and it will bring more for you. But let's talk about pests and diseases. Now on here, this may look to you like this plant has a disease, but it does not. Those are actually lichens that are on there. And this does not harm the plant. As a matter of fact, they say if you see lichen growing on your trees, it means that you have a fairly good air quality in your area, which is something that we all definitely want. What you have to watch out for is powdery mildew, which looks black on there. So you want to make sure that that is not happening, in which case you can use some kind of a fungicide. I like to use a 3% solution of hydrogen peroxide. For pests, you may see like aphids from time to time. If you can introduce ladybugs in there, they'll basically take care of those. Or maybe like some kind of a mild pesticide you can spray in there. I like to use like insecticidal soap on most of my things because I try to keep it as eco-friendly as possible. So that's an option that you can consider. The next thing is to water them. Make sure that, they're well watered but allowed to dry out. And when the weather gets, hot in the summertime, be sure to put some mulch down, maybe 2 inches or so that they can, retain some of the moisture and they don't dry out so much. Right here we have some Dutch iris that's growing around on there, so we will need to clear those back a little bit. And I'll also say, even when you put your mulch, maybe back it off a little bit, maybe about 1 inch or 2 from the root directly, so you don't have infestation of pests and insects and all of that. So that's a good point to consider. Next is in the fall season, the leaves turn a beautiful color. I'm sorry I didn't capture the images to show you right here, but you get that nice color going. What you will notice also is that you'll see that the bark is peeling. There is nothing wrong with the plant. It is not sick. It's just a natural part of crepe myrtle. And that's kind of one of the reasons why they call it crepe myrtle, is because of how the trunk peels, but more so because the flowers have almost like a paper-like consistency, and it reminds people of crepes. So, that's just something to bear in mind there. So now, as far as the different varieties go, you want to make sure that you're choosing one that is suitable for you and one that works best for the space that you're in. And, just trim them back as needed. If you can trim them, it's not the worst case situation, and that's the bonus point right here. You can actually just leave them. They do offer such wonderful interest season round. In the winter, you have the dried pods. In the summer, you have the blooms. And in the fall, you have those wonderful shades of colors, the warm, nice autumn colors. And at Christmas time, we like to string our lights upon them because it's so easy you can see the shape of them. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I do hope that you will keep watching my channel, come back for more videos, more gardening topics, and enjoy your gardening as the season progresses. Just let us get going. Let's grow something today. And I do hope to see you in the next video. Take care.